Hey y'all, how's it going? I'm Traveler Charlie. I'm a non-binary Latinx money coach helping my clients build wealth and retire early no matter what their income is. And every Wednesday I go live on Instagram to answer your questions about shmoney. So I'm going to put to ask the natal questions in the chat. And I'm going to be recording this to be an episode of my Unicorn Millionaire Podcast. You can follow me on Spotify, Apple. People love my podcast. It is poppin' because I'm the only ex-stockbroker, ex-undocumented trans person out here on these streets talking about building wealth and normalizing money. And okay, we're going to ask Janetto questions in the chat. And I'm going to pin that ish here and then start recording this so that I can repurpose it on my podcast. Welcome, welcome, everybody. And I'm going to pin this. Okay, so I'm going to start recording here. Hey all, how's it going? I just came off the high of a money coaching call with a 6-month money coaching client, and I freaking love what I do. We had such a good conversation about extracting the wealth that you're building, because a lot of us talk about accumulating and how easy it is to accumulate wealth when you're investing, when you're taking money from your paycheck, whether it is 3% because you haven't hired me yet and you think you should just be doing the match, and then you go from that to hiring me and then doing what I love to call the 50% paycheck challenge, where you put half your paycheck into your 401k so that you can collapse your timeline to retirement. Because I've never made more than $45K and I've already hit $250,000 net worth, mostly in investments, mostly in tax optimized Roth freak post-tax accounts. So I'm never going to have to pay taxes on that money that I take out when it does come to retirement, whether that's when I'm 45 in 10 years or when I'm 60. It doesn't matter. I don't really have a retirement date because I already love what I do. I don't have like, oh, when I'm 60, I can finally enjoy my life and go on vacation. No, I'm already getting weekly massages, living my best life now as a low income earner with inconsistent income as a business owner. But oh my God, I'm so excited to talk about what I talked with you about with my money coaching client. So I'm trying to focus and bring it back to our call, because I'm neurospicy and I can go on tangents for days. Even my tangents are juicy, but I got to bring it back to what we talked about in my money coaching call. So with this client, my client is in their early 60s. I believe they're 60. And what I love about what I do is I have clients who come to me when they're 24 because they know that they don't have any time to waste. They don't want to delay their wealth building journey. They don't want to be DIYing it or Googling it. I've had a client as young as 24 hire me for coaching. She felt like scattered with her money. It was Nora. I actually interviewed her on my podcast. If you look under podcast under Nora, she hired me when she was like 24, 25, super young, didn't know what to do with investing, was feeling Black Friday FOMO on Amazon. I would joke around with her how before she would hire me, she would spend money on like pressure cookers on Amazon for Black Friday, because she was raised with that Mexican sense of like scarcity, of only seeing things in terms of savings and expenses. And then quickly, when she hired me, she started thinking of everything she does as an investor. An investor is not afraid of investing their money. And an investor knows that they can spend their money intentionally and strategically and trust that that money will come back tenfold, either in financial gains or emotional returns, right? So she went to feeling scarce with her money and scattered and not knowing how to adult, not knowing how to invest, because none of us were taught any of this, to becoming a homeowner before 30. She ended up buying her house because I helped her boost her credit. I helped her optimize passive income through credit card rewards. I helped her move her cash into the right high yield savings account. I helped her open a Roth IRA. I helped her open up the right investment accounts and know what to prioritize, and helped her pick her own investments so she'll never need to outsource her money scarcity, because she is confident with her money and doesn't have to hire a financial advisor ever, because she knows how to self-manage her money. And yeah, she ended up buying her own house on her own without the help of a partner or anything, with zero money down, because she took advantage of first-time home buyers programs. So all the work that I helped her do helped make up for years of trying to DIY it or just avoiding her money and blaming capitalism for her lack of taking action. She took action, and I'm so happy for her that she's a homeowner. I don't even think she's 30 yet either, which is so cool. So I have clients in their 20s who are hiring me because they want to get their money together and stop wasting years of growth and delaying their growth, and just want to take advantage of their money now because they know that hiring me will help them change the entire trajectories of their financial lives, because they know how to manage their minds and their mindset and understand the stock market. That's my vibe. I love working with clients like that who are coachable, who know that they don't know everything, but they know that they want to hire me to walk them through every single step of the way in my 6-month coaching. And some clients love my coaching so much that they even extend the blaming capitalism for lack of action, that part. If you're listening on the Unicorn Millionaire Podcast, I'm doing a Wealthy Wednesday IG Live, where I go live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. PT, 1 p.m. ET. And so if you hear me talking to people, I'm actually talking to people right now on my Instagram Live. The blaming capitalism for lack of action is huge. I see that all the time in marginalized communities where we are very creative. A lot of us are very spicy. We love doing things in different ways. A lot of my friends are polyamorous. Like, I hang out with a lot of poly people who love exploring relationships and seeing possibilities and doing things in different ways. But unfortunately, when it comes to capitalism, the system has been so ingrained for centuries and is upheld by the military-industrial complex, and our government officials are elected by corporations, that we're really good at seeing the system for what it is and complaining about it. But you can only complain about it so much, in my opinion, and it's time for you to take action and start exploiting capitalism instead of it exploiting you. Because I'm not trying to work forever, even though I love what I do. I love my clients. I'm not trying to work forever. I want to be work optional. And for me, that is the point of financial independence, and retiring early is only working when I want to. So yeah, we can sit around and complain. A lot of queer people sit around and complain. I'm out here in Portland. It is the epicenter of queerness and doing things differently and critiquing capitalism. But I am like, yeah, but I'm also doing something about it when it comes to seeing myself as a social impact investment, instead of trying to find the best stocks that are like the least crappy. Because in order to be a publicly traded company, you have to rely on some level of exploitation. So yeah, I'm all about working with the system from within so that I can sell out of all my stock one day, invest in mutual aid, but I'm making sure that I'm good as a single person who doesn't have a partner to fall back on. When I have $0 months in my business, I have to take care of myself. As somebody who's estranged from family, who also has nobody to fall back on and take care of myself, that's why I'm very passionate about getting my finances together, so that I'm not out on the street or trying to start a GoFundMe because I'm about to get evicted, which breaks my heart because I see that a lot, especially in the trans community who are estranged from family. I'm not one of the lucky people who had supportive parents, and I know a lot of queer people aren't either. They're estranged from family. So we especially have to be on top of our finances so that we don't fall prey to an abusive partner and become financially dependent on a partner. But that's a whole tangent for another day. I need to record a whole podcast episode on how toxic it is that queers tend to repeat heteronormative norms about how like one partner needs to be the financially stable one and the other is not, and ends up being dependent on the financially stable partner. And that dynamic is just very heteronormative, where we see like the man is the one who's good with investments and the feminine person provides emotional labor. Like, we need to stop repeating that and promote financial stability and empowerment for everybody in relationships. I do not believe in this heteronormative ideal of like one person is the one that has their money together and the other person is not, because that leaves you more vulnerable. I'm a therapist. I work with money mindset, and I hear folks blaming capitalism all the time. Let's critique the system while also exploiting it, like you just said. Yeah, like I'm all about complaining, fuck capitalism, but also what are we going to do about it? I see that a lot when we're like, a lot of us are traumatized. A lot of us have CPTSD because a lot of our parents had no business having kids, but they didn't have the option not to. Like, we're the first generation as a millennial and Gen Z where we don't have to have kids if we don't want to. Yes, because of economic reasons, but because it's normalized to not have kids on social media. Whereas for my parents, at least, that are Gen Xers or baby boomers, like they didn't have the option. That's just what you did, or you were ostracized. But here we are being ostracized because we're living our true selves, coming out as trans or queer, which is why it's important to be on top of your finances. So even if you're estranged like me, that's not derailing your entire life. So that's my critique of capitalism. You can critique it, but also what do you want to do about it is my take. So yeah. Back to my client call. So I had that one client who's in her 20s. It's popping for her. She's maxing out her Roth IRA and bought a house before 30 with zero money down, living her best life. And then I have clients who are in their 30s like me, 40s and 50s, and a 60-year-old client who right now is the oldest client I have. But I work with people of all ages because at the end of the day, I help all my clients build wealth peacefully, build wealth joyfully. We're all going to build wealth in our own ways, but at this point in my life and the lives of my clients, they want to build wealth peacefully and joyfully and intentionally instead of doing it from a place of scarcity, instead of a place from that saver expense mindset that our parents ingrained in us. They want to think as investors, of being okay with investing $6,000 in coaching because they know that they'll make their money back just in the peace of mind of being able to manage their money for themselves for the rest of their lives. Like my coaching isn't just a cute little class where you learn and go off and I set you into the wild. No, my coaching is a lot like money therapy, where we go deep into your money wounds and deprogram them and are aware of your money wounds and how they're showing up, but releasing them little by little so that you stop building wealth from a place of scarcity and burnout like your parents did, and start letting your money work smarter for you, not harder. So this client came to me who's 60 years old, who has crossed over into the extraction phase. And what I mean from that is, if you're like me right now, I'm personally in the accumulation phase of investing, where I make it non-negotiable to invest a huge part of the money that I make. My income goes straight into my retirement accounts and into investments. January 1st, January 2nd hits, and I max out the $7,500 in my Roth IRA like clockwork. Just like y'all are making it non-negotiable to buy those Bad Bunny tickets or the Beyonce tickets, I make it non-negotiable to max out my Roth IRA at the start of the year. As somebody who's never made more than $45K, it is just non-negotiable. Doing that is the only reason I know I will be able to retire early. Doing that is the only reason I've hit a $250K net worth. And I just make that the bare minimum. Anything else is a perk, is a cherry on top. So I get that out of the way. And so I accumulate, and I put like $4,000 in my solo Roth 401k because I'm a business owner and I'm not trying to go back to the 9 to 5. I'm way too spoiled with the amount of time freedom I have. And I would rather have 5 amazing clients like I do right now than be swamped with way too many clients because I'm afraid to like raise my prices and stay small and just see my business as a cute little side hustle. Like, no, I'm a CEO who has made hundreds of thousands of dollars. At this point, I've helped like over 100 clients build wealth and change their entire lives. So I treat myself accordingly. So I open my own employer retirement account. And so I put $4,000 in that. So I've invested over $11,000, even though in sales, my business this year has brought in like $27,000. Q1, I made $400. Okay, y'all. That is the epitome of inconsistent income, because I was still showing up. I was still sending bomb ass emails on my Dom Your Dinero email list. If you're not on that, get into it. Subscribe at the link in the show notes or at the link in my bio. If you're on Instagram listening to this live, I send so many juicy emails a week or even a day because people need to know these things. My client on the call today was like, I love your emails. They're so good. You just like blast off with all this essential information. So my clients know what's up, and my clients are working with me and they still love my emails. That's how good they are. So I'm still showing up. Q1, I still showed up. I was still doing these Wealthy Wednesday IG lives, but I was not making money. And if you're a business owner, you got to make money. That is the point of being a business. I'm not a business owner because I started a cute little side hustle and I want validation from my friends and family that I'm not going to get. No. I've had a lot of friends say, oh, I want to hire you, but they don't. Like, you're not a client until you pay me to be a client. I have a lot of people who just have been lurking for months and I had no idea, and then they show up on a sales call and boom, they pay me the $6K immediately because they're ready to get to work. So there are some months where I don't make money, and that's completely normal as a business owner to have inconsistent months. because I was working on my website. I was working on the back end. I was working through a lot of emotional things after getting a blood clot in December that derailed a lot of things for me, but I still showed up. But then in Q2, Q3, that's when I made the 27K, because I just showed up differently and I started sharing different offers and everything. But I'm so happy that despite the inconsistent income, I still made it non-negotiable for me to budget for and save money to max out my Roth IRA. So that when I did start making money, I invested it. In April, when I was at the end of that $400 I made in the entire Q1, I sold $5,000 of stock too. So even though I'm telling you I'm mostly in the accumulation phase, I'm already allowing myself to extract money, which freaks people out. I have 6-figure earning clients who I have to work with them for weeks to get them comfortable with the idea of selling stock. Like, you're not a bad person for selling stock. And I love that as a low income earner with inconsistent income, I've normalized that I've sold $300 of stock in 2023 when I was living in LA to see Karol G. Like, it doesn't have to be the end of the world. It doesn't mean I'm a bad person. Like, you can sell stock to go shake your ass. What matters is that you're doing intentionally. And when I sell stock, I'm doing it from a taxable brokerage account. I'm not wiping out. I'm not touching my 401k. I don't touch my retirement accounts. There's no point, because I know which account to pull money from, but I'm not decimating that account. So for me, I'm in like 99% accumulation, investing it, watching my net worth go up and down by 4K to 8K in a day, but not doing anything about it because I'm investing for the long term, like all my clients are. To letting myself extract here and there. So I sold 5K in stock because I had a slow Q1, but then I immediately made that money back. But what did I do? I reinvested it in the right tax advantaged accounts too. So money is money, and I allow money to flow from me and to me because I have that investor mindset, and I see time differently than a lot of people at the 9-to-5 or who were raised to think that you need to go to work and work for 8 hours, and every hour that you work has a $20 an hour value. And for me, it's very different as a business owner. I go from making $400 even though I'm putting in the work and working 25 hours a week to 30 hours a week, because I usually take Tuesdays off because I can. So I don't see my work as like, oh, I have to show up and my time is exchanged for money. I compress time and I can make thousands of dollars in a month and go for $0 months here and there because I'm off in Thailand for months at a time. Or I take 3 weeks off a quarter now, right? So that's like 2 months off a year. It's like I'm European out here in America taking time off. And I love that for me. So I have a very different perception of time. And that's what I help my clients with, is work smarter, not harder, and start thinking like a millionaire. This is how wealthy people think. They don't exchange their time for money. They make their money grow their time, because time is money, and having time freedom is a huge flex. Like, yeah, I don't have a car, but I have a lot of time. I get to go on Tuesday morning to Pilates with all my retired friends and the housewives and all of that. Because I choose to. And now that I'm launching, I'm deciding to tell myself it's okay to work on Tuesdays. Like, that's the level of spoiled I am, is that I have to be like, I'm launching a webinar on August 25th, which you all should show up to, because it's all about how to build your first 250K net worth without waiting to make more money. But as I'm working harder to send more emails and like working 5 days a week instead of 4, I had to coach myself and be like, yeah, it's going to be okay for you to work on Tuesdays. It's just for 4 weeks. So that's how spoiled I am, right? I'm already talking like a super rich person because I have all this time and I can manipulate my time and money. It's a lot more fluid than a lot of people who are stuck in that 9-to-5 scarcity. Just got to work yourself to the bone. Like almost superiority complex that I was raised with. Like, I was raised to think that you had to suffer for money and that made you a superior, better person. And now I'm like, no, suffering does not make me better. I'm all about reducing suffering. So with my 60-year-old client, we're really working a lot on their mindset on how to allow themselves to reap the benefits of all the years that they had been investing. So here's the thing. I have a lot of people who feel guilt about different things, but that's the beauty of working with me one-on-one for 6 months, because everybody's financial situation is different. And if you're on the IG Live, hi, you're asking if this was live or recorded. Yeah, right now this is live, so you can ask me any questions in the chat, or if you're listening, I'm also repurposing this for my Unicorn Millionaire Podcast, and I'll post the replay on Instagram too, so that you can listen and take notes. So yeah, if you're not listening to my Unicorn Millionaire Podcast, get on that. I'm on Spotify, Apple, wherever you're listening to your podcasts. So yeah. The client that I'm working with, she is 60, but I've been working through the guilt that they felt about not having invested in Roth accounts. Because when you invest in Roth accounts now, you pay taxes on that money, but then it can grow and grow for decades. So when you take that money out, you don't have to pay taxes. And this is what I keep harping on, because when I worked as a stockbroker, when I was in my late 20s, I saw so many people who were older, who were in their 60s and 70s, and I could tell who was doing the right thing because they just knew to invest in Roth accounts. So they weren't bitching, they weren't complaining about selling stock to fund their lives because they did the Roth option. They didn't have to pay taxes. Whereas there were the older folks who said, I wish I had known, I wish that somebody had told me in my 20s, 30s, 40s to do Roth, because when you pay taxes now, you don't have to later. If you do everything pre-tax, like if you invest in a regular schmegular 401k, it sounds great to be pre-tax. I see a lot of Latinos be like, but pre-tax sounds great. I'm like, yeah, but it's still going to come back and bite you in the ass later, because you're going to have to pay taxes on it eventually. Nada es gratis en este mundo, especially taxes. So you might as well just pay taxes now and get that out of the way. Because especially if you work with me, we really optimize your money, and I get you in funds that go from making 10K to 40K in about 10 years or so. A lot of people think that their money is growing a lot because their investments are growing by 10%. I'm like, no, it should be growing way more than that. I've had stocks grow by 71% in just a few years. So that's the kind of growth that I'm talking about, that I help all my clients switch out of crappy investments and into better investments that track the stock market or outperform me without paying excessive fees. Because a lot of y'all don't even know how much in fees you're paying, because you don't know what to look for, because you weren't raised to learn any of these things. So yeah, I'm helping my clients forgive their past self for not knowing to do Roth this whole time. But the great thing about working with me is that I'm helping them focus on the things that they did right. Because some people, honestly, I've seen 60-year-olds, older people who have no retirement savings. Their retirement plan is to just work until they die. And it's like, okay, good for you, but I could never. Like, I'm 35, I have chronic health issues, and I'm already tired. I do not want to work till I die. Like, that sounds horrible to me. And it's a very fatalistic, depressing attitude to have, of like, and it's almost like invalidating to yourself, where you don't feel like you deserve more. I feel like I deserve all the rest and less suffering already. And I'm so excited that future me is going to access that. Like, my 65-year-old self is going to be getting massages every other day, probably. Like, I'm already getting a taste of bouginess, but I want more. Like, I've never even had a first-class flight yet, but I know I will. So that's the perspective that I have about retirement. I will never say I'm going to work till I die, or I'm just too scared to think about investing, or I never want to invest in coaching. Catch me never. I've invested tens of thousands of dollars at this point in business coaching, because I love paying somebody to not DIY it. I'm not trying to be self-taught at everything. I'm not trying to DIY everything. I want to outsource as much as possible. Even when it comes to cooking, I've never gone out to eat so much as I have this year. I didn't start door dashing until this year, because I cook all my meals. Like, I'm really at the wealth building phase. Even though I'm a low income earner with unstable income, as y'all have heard about me talking, I'm still all about outsourcing and paying people to do things that I know I could do myself, but I don't want to anymore. That's the vibe of building wealth. And I help a lot of my clients release that scarcity. Like, yeah, you're probably like making it work, meal prepping, like I was in my 20s when I was on food stamps and Medicaid, had to meal prep. I couldn't afford to go out to eat, but now I'm allowing myself to go out to eat, to buy the store-made guac, which is like a huge, it's very symbolic for me. Every time I go to the grocery store, I tell myself I can afford the store-made guac now, because I was raised to think that that was for rich people. That's too expensive. We can just do it ourselves. And every time I notice myself thinking that I can do it myself, I'm like, do I? Do I have to do it myself? because I have money now, so I don't have to do everything myself. And so it's that constant reminder. It's the mindset work that I do with myself that I also help my clients do to start moving away from burnout and scarcity to abundance and building wealth peacefully. All right, Minda's asking, at what point does an emergency fund become too large, and how do you decide when that money would be better invested instead? So this depends on everybody, which is why my coaching is so great, because I don't know your expenses. I don't know how much debt you have. I don't know your income. So this varies wildly by client. So my emergency fund, I realize my comfort level is 10K. If it dips below that, then I'm selling stock to add to my emergency fund, or I'm making sales, making money in my business. For me, that's a threshold. I also don't pay rent. I have not paid rent in 2 years because I pet sit full time. And that comes with the sacrifice that most people can never. For me, that means living out of a suitcase. That means plotting out my entire year and applying for pet sits to fill out my entire calendar, where I'm booked out. Time of this recording, we're in August, and I have some pet sits all the way in February because I do the work of seeking them out, or establishing past relationships with clients so that they book me out early because they know that I'm a Virgo and my life is planned out by a calendar and I have my ish together. Even though I've been homeless by choice for over 2 years now, like I have my shit together. But it's nerve-wracking for people. So I have to calm myself down whenever people freak out and ask me, what do you do between pet sits? Oh my God. I'm like, I get a bougie hotel that I book with perks that gives me free dinner and breakfast, and I live my best life, or I go to the beach, or I go skiing. I have to remind myself that I'm okay. I'm financially safe. I know what I'm doing thanks to money. Money makes everything possible for me, and being able to manage it allows me to feel in this spaciousness and manipulate, because not paying rent is the way I'm collapsing my timeline to retirement. Like I mentioned, I don't have a partner to split the rent with. I don't have a rich husband in tech funding my life as an entrepreneur. No shade if that's you, but that's not my situation. So these are the things that I have to do to offset that, to reduce my expenses, because rent, housing is one of the biggest expenses out there that are not worth it to me. I've honestly never thought, oh, I missed my bed. When I'm traveling, I've just been like, I don't feel like it's worth it to pay for an apartment that I'm not even using right now. I don't find comfort in physical objects. Like everything I own is in a suitcase. I don't own physical things. I don't have a car. If I need to drive, then I'll rent a car, or people I pet sit for will lend me their cars. It's not a big deal. I have to get myself on board with buying a car in terms of the emotional payback, because I make money online. I can work from wherever. I can work from Thailand, from France. I've done that. So for me, a car would not give me any financial return, really. It would be an emotional return, which I'm open to, but it's not a priority right now because I'm busy stacking my money and making money with my business and investing for retirement and talking to y'all on Instagram about how to retire early and be your own sugar daddy now. So that's what I help clients of all age levels is prep for retirement, be in the accumulation phase, but also in the extraction phase. So with this client, I shared with them a visual that I think will help you think about building wealth. So what I told them today was, I want you to think about how everybody's building wealth in their own ways. Everybody is growing their own garden. That's how I see planning for retirement, or like a emergency fund, whether the number for you is 10K, or it might be 6 to 12 months worth of expenses. If you're paying rent, if you have a lot of bills to pay, then your emergency fund should be higher. But for me, having more than like 20K, that's the cutoff I've decided for me. If I have more cash than 20K, then I'm investing it. But the goal for me to easily pull out of how much should I invest is I just make it a goal to max out my retirement accounts. I think that is a more powerful way of being like, how much is too much cash versus invested? Are you maxing out your Roth IRA at the start of the year so you capture the entire year's worth of gains? That alone is $7,500 as long as you're making earned income. Are you maxing out your employer-sponsored 401k, or if you're a business owner, your solo 401k? That one, my goal is to hit the $24,500 just as an employee. But you can do even more. The solo 401ks, you can contribute even more depending on how much your business is making than at the 9 to 5. So that's where I would start. Are you maxing out your IRA, hopefully Roth, and your Roth 401k? If you don't know what I'm talking about, you absolutely need to hire me, because everybody who comes to me is still doing these pre-tax accounts, and it's going to come back to bite you in the ass when you're 72 or 73 and the IRS is forcing you to start taking that money out because you should have been a Roth freak and should have hired Charlie decades ago. But I'm here now, and you can hire me to help you shift everything from pre-tax to Roth accounts to really grow your money. Even if your money is sitting in a high yield savings account at 4%, you're still not growing your money, y'all. It's losing value to inflation. The real way to grow your money is to optimize it in the right tax advantaged accounts. And that's what I help all my clients do. I hold your hand, we look at all of your accounts, get you out of crappy investments that you're paying way too much in fees for that you don't even know about, and get you into the right funds and the right accounts so that you can be tax optimized. So you don't have to worry about the IRS draining your retirement savings when you're in your 70s, because they're watching and they're going to come knock at your door. That's called required minimum distributions, which is what this client who I'm working with, who's 60, she's not even facing the required minimum distributions yet, which she will when she's in her 70s. But I'm already helping her optimize and be a Roth freak now, because she has the luxury, we're calling it a luxury now, she has the luxury to work part-time as opposed to having a full-time job. So she's working part-time, not to pay the bills. We're getting her to use her salary as a means to max out her Roth 401k. That's the investor mindset. If I were to ever get a 6-figure job again and work at the 9 to 5, the point of that would not to be paying my bills. It would be to max out my 401k. Been there, done that. When I was a little burnout with my business and over it, I think it was in 2023, I spent $3,000 to hire Carla, the first gen coach. She was a great business coach, career coach. And she helped me apply for jobs at the 9 to 5. And I was like, I just want to get a job to max out my 401k. I don't need the money to pay my bills. But as a business owner, I realized I was way too feral and way too spoiled. And I was like, this is ghetto. I don't want to work for somebody. I'll just max out my own retirement accounts with my own business because I love the time freedom I have. And I don't want to be like pretending I'm working from the office when I'm really in Mexico. Like, no, I don't have to answer to anybody as a business owner except my clients who I love. So win-win. But that's the mindset that I'm helping this client do. They work part-time, maybe 24 hours a week, but they just celebrated today that they put in almost $2,000 into their Roth 401k account from their paycheck. So they're putting a large amount of their paycheck into their Roth 401k to stack it. So in a way, it's neat because it's symbolic of I'm not too late. I didn't know that I should have been doing Roth, but now I've hired Charlie and now I'm a Roth freak and now I'm still working part-time, and I'm making up for all the last time I didn't know I should have been doing Roth and investing my part-time earnings into my Roth account. And they just celebrated today. They told me that they're getting a bonus and they don't know how much their bonus is going to be, but they already contacted HR to make sure that their year-end bonus that they're getting is going to be invested in Roth because they're not trying to pay taxes on that money anymore. They're already seeing the tax consequences on their pre-tax money that's funding their life now from the IRA that they're able to withdraw from. Because when you turn 59 and a half, you're able to withdraw from your individual retirement accounts to start funding retirement, but you pay taxes on that money. And they're already realizing how much in taxes they're paying now. So that's why they're able to fund their Roth account and pay taxes now so that money can grow and grow itself. So when they take that money out in 5, 10, 20, 30 years, they're not going to have to worry about taxes on it. So working with me is very healing. I help you realize your past mistakes and learn from them and then do something about it. That's the theme. We can complain about capitalism, but what are we going to do about it? So working with me is very much like, okay, capitalism sucks, but I'm working with Charlie to do something to change my financial situation because I don't want to be stuck anymore. A lot of people would rather be stuck and stay in that identity of scarcity mindset of everything is fucked and we're all going to hell anyway. And that's not my reality. Esa no es mi dimensión. Yo estoy dimensionando una realidad en donde la gente puede invertir y piensa en las posibilidades. And if you want to think about your possibilities, you need money. Money does buy happiness. It does buy you possibilities in a future where you're taking care of yourself so you can take care of others. So this client realized and had a really good conversation with HR because in my coaching, I help you prepare for these conversations you're not having with HR that you should be having to retire early. And they were like, HR sent me really good screenshots of exactly how to invest my bonus and make sure that it's going to as much Roth as possible. So they realized that this employer, when they do pay out the bonus, whether it's 1K or 5K, I don't know, they're not able to have it go completely to Roth. I think they said that only 70% of that bonus is going to be able to be invested in the Roth account, but that's still better than nothing. And I'm proud of themselves for even knowing what to advocate for themselves and even knowing what to ask HR. I'm like, this is amazing. Hi, Christina from Hawaii. I need to do a whole podcast episode on Rich Hawaii Charlie and all of the like amazing downloads and realizations I had in Hawaii. Speaking of which, Christina brought me a fragrance from the Royal Hawaiian that I need to smell now to remind me of how rich I felt in Hawaii. It's literally how the hotel smelled in a bottle. That reminds me of why I'm investing in my Roth IRA and talking to y'all about being a Roth freak and building wealth is so that we can go to Hawaii and be bougie. That is my mission. So yeah, back to making their bonus be as much Roth as possible. I'm so happy that my client knew what to ask HR. And now they're being proactive instead of reactive. They're being proactive and finding out, okay, I'm not sure how much my bonus will be, but in December, when it does pay out, I'm not even going to have to think about it being tax optimized because I already did the work now in August to make sure that it is. And how much can I maximize it? I would rather her find out that she can only put 70% than realizing that it's all pre-tax and she's going to have to pay taxes on that later. Being proactive with your money is all about having it grow for you as much as possible. And it's okay. You can take the losses. I've made $1,000 mistakes. I've made $5,000 mistakes, which is why my clients love me because I'm like, don't invest in this. This is a mistake I made. And that's how my clients are making back their investment in the 6K in coaching with me is by learning from all the $1,000 mistakes that I made that my clients don't have to ever make. And that's what investing in coaching looks like. You're hiring a coach to learn from the mistakes that they made so that you don't have to learn from them and lose from them too. That itself is worth the investment in coaching. So yeah, that's a huge win for my clients to go from feeling like it was too late, like they fucked up their retirement planning by not knowing they should have been doing Roth all these years to realizing it's not too late. I can have a part-time job. I have the luxury of only needing to work part-time that a lot of my coworkers or people older than me still don't have the luxury. People are retiring later and later because life is only going to get more expensive. People are delaying their retirements because the cost of living is high and because they realize that they weren't Roth freaks earlier. So they're making up for all that lost time by having to work longer. And so this is why I will scream from the rooftops as a Virgo, be a Roth freak now. It is not too late. But you don't want to delay your retirement just because you didn't know what buttons to click when you were signing up for your employer 401k, or you didn't know which investments to pick. Because a lot of y'all are in default investments in your 401k and these target date funds that make you feel like you're setting up your future self, where you pick funds that you're like, yeah, I guess I'll retire by 2050. But those funds are expensive. You're paying fees for those funds, and those funds are already very cash heavy. They look like they're growing now because they are aggressive, but the closer you get to 2050, the more those funds are going to convert to cash. And I don't like those funds because they already have a lot of cash in them. A lot of these like 2040, 2050 funds that are 20 or 30 years out, they already have like 6% in cash in them, y'all. That's doing nothing. It's like cash that's just sitting there in a checking account, losing value to inflation, and it's only going to get worse. So everybody who hires me, boop, we sell out real quick at all those target date funds and into funds that track the stock market and actually grow. And then you decide how much you want to sell, which, as I've mentioned, I've sold $5,000 in stock already. But that's the thing that comes with coaching is I mentally prepare you para los nervios, because a lot of people are able to fund their lives by selling stock, but they're too scared because they think that it makes them a bad person. They think that it makes them like a loser, which I know because I had those thoughts myself. I'm a money coach and I know exactly what I'm doing, yet those scarcity thoughts still come in. When I was selling stock, I had all these bad thoughts. I was like, dang, I'm jealous of my friends who have rich husbands in tech who can like fund their lifestyles or their entrepreneurial lifestyles. I'm jealous of my friends who've made so much more money than I have. All these horrible thoughts that I had. And then I had to be like, no, actually, I'm deciding to be grateful for 2020 Charlie that invested in these funds. I'm grateful that they've grown by 71%. I'm grateful that my money basically doubled itself from 2,500 invested to 5K invested because I knew which buttons to click. I'm so grateful. I'm going to lock this money for myself and use it. So it is kind of like growing a garden. You can decide to see your wealth building journey as I'm going to have a plot of land and be pissed off about it and water it and it look like shit, or I can have a garden and have it be luscious, and I can hire gardeners because I don't want to pretend like I want to DIY, do everything and be resentful when my garden looks like crap. I want to hire gardeners. I want to hire a money coach. I want to hire an accountant to help me grow my luscious garden so it can have all these beautiful plants and fruits. And I'm just thinking of like birds of paradise and a mango tree and a fig tree and basil and tomatoes, which I'm at Pet now, where I can get fresh basil and tomatoes and cook with them. I made them with eggs and polenta this morning. Yum. And so that's where I'm at. I'm like, I want to outsource. I want to hire gardeners to garden for me because I don't want to DIY it. That's stressful. And I want to understand exactly what's going on with my garden. And that's what I help all my clients do. I help them go from having this dry ass plot to having a luscious garden. And they're able to go in and pick some tomatoes, pick some basil without freaking out and thinking that their garden is going to burn or collapse. You can allow yourself to reap the rewards of the garden that you're planting when it comes to your wealth building journey without decimating it all. It's not all or nothing. And that all or nothing, that scarcity mindset, that fear is because you inherited that fear from your parents. Our parents came from a different generation. Our parents, whether they're baby boomers or Gen X, they didn't have the awareness that we have now as a collective to really tune into what we want because they're busy having kids that they probably didn't want to have. But we have the time and luxury to introspect and see what we want to do with our money and how we want to build wealth, which is the place that I'm at. I know I will build wealth because I know to max out my Roth IRA every year, but it's introspection. It's the mindset work that is allowing me to sell 5K in stock. Even though I had those shitty thoughts, I did it anyway because I chose not to believe them. So that's what I help all my clients do, is be aware of the thoughts that are keeping you small, as silly as they are, and then do something about it. Is this how you want to keep thinking? Or do you want to build wealth like rich Hawaii Charlie felt? That's my alter ego, but it's not even alter ego because I literally felt so rich when I was in Hawaii. So I always go back to that. When those crappy thoughts creep in, I'm like, I want to feel the way I felt when I was in Hawaii, or I just trusted my investments to grow in the background. And I was able to spend so much more money than I usually do on bougie restaurants and shopping because I trusted all the money that I would spend would come back to me tenfold. And I was so grateful for the past self that made all these sacrifices, like meal prepping instead of going out to eat. And I was so grateful for my current me, who has been living out of a suitcase, pet sitting full time, so that I save tens of thousands of dollars on rent so I can invest it instead. It's all part of the plan. And it's this holistic approach that I help all my clients with in coaching. You can choose to complain about capitalism and bitch about your situation. And like me, complain about how everybody else is better off, how your rich friends have rich husbands and they don't have to worry about anything. Like, no. Comparing yourself doesn't help you at all. My coaching is all about helping you be aware of your blocks, the inherited mindset you have from your parents who didn't know better, and decide what to do about it in terms of how you want to think about growing your beautiful garden and what you want to do with your money. And so I help you with both every step of the way in my 6-month money coaching program. In the first meeting we look at all your money for the first time in your life, all in one place. And just from that first session, my clients already are in love with coaching because like I had one client, Amy, who had never looked at her money in one place, in one ecosystem. And that felt revolutionary to her. And that was just in the first session, y'all. So in the first 30 days of coaching, I got you to break up with your crappy credit union that's not paying you interest like they should, even though they're nice, crappy checking accounts and crappy big banks like Wells Fargo If y'all complaining about capitalism, that's the first thing you can do is break up with these big banks that are not paying you enough interest because they're passing off the profit to their shareholders and lending out the money you're giving them for way higher interest rates. So that's the first thing we do, is break up with all your shitty banks and then open a high yield savings account and start automating, getting paid to that high yield savings and paying your credit cards from your high yield savings. So your money sits there earning 4%, which translates to hundreds of dollars, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars in interest over the long term. So you can use that money to pay your bills, to max out your Roth IRA, 401k, invest it instead. Having a high yield savings account in 2026 is the bare minimum to have your money pay you back what you should be earning. And so that's what we do in the first 30 days. And then we also help you boost your credit score wherever your credit score is. And I have a lot of clients who have popping credit scores in the 700, 800s who sell crappy credit cards that don't get them into the lounge. So we fix that real quick. We don't close the free cards you have. We keep them open, but we stop using them and get you to open credit cards that get you into the lounge, get you hundreds of dollars back in restaurant perks, global entry, TSA pre-check, and just get you overall better cash back than these crappy free credit cards. Thank you for opening them to establish your credit, but now that it's established and built, you deserve to have credit cards that actually give you perks. I love going to the airport lounge, and I don't want to ever not go to the airport lounge. And it's all 100% thanks to the Chase Sapphire Reserve credit card that costs $795 a year. And I just had that fee show up in my credit card statement, and I was like, holy shit, this is a lot. But then investor mindset, I have to remind myself, but I get airport lounge access, TSA pre-check to skip the lines, global entry to skip the lines at the airport. So much more cash back than I would with a crappy debit card, which doesn't give you anything back. So stop using your debit cards, y'all. It's not smart. You should be getting paid for all the money you are spending anyway to exist in America or anywhere else, frankly. And I just love all the perks that I get, and always see it as these are all the perks I get. It is well worth the $795 annual fee because you get a $300 travel credit anyway. So it's actually $495 a year. So these are all the things I have to tell myself to be like, it's okay. We're okay. I can pay the $795 annual fee because I reap so many rewards for my luscious money garden anyway. Like, it's okay. And then I move on and write emails for my email list and sell my services because I'm a business owner who is selling services, selling a product in exchange for money so that I can change people's lives. So I have a social impact business, y'all. Jerem Blossoms, I love it so much because I have so much money shame. Yeah, I have money shame. I'm a money coach, but what do you want to do about it? There's people who trauma bond over how much money shame they have and just dwell in it and don't do anything about it. But I'm all about like, all right, let's acknowledge the money shame, but what are we going to do about it? Are we going to max out our Roth IRA? Are we going to understand how the capitalistic system works? What are we going to do about it is the vibe in 2026. Am I going to let this economy freak me out? Am I going to let AI freak me out? Or am I going to do something about it? That's been my vibe as a business owner. I've really had to pivot in this age of AI when a lot of business owners are complaining about how hard things are right now. Since I started my business, people have always been complaining about how hard things are right now. So things are not going to change, but what is going to change is my perspective, y cómo me acompaño, and how I coach myself and soothe myself and remind myself that I'm a boss and I've done hard things. And I can do hard things. So that's the vibe. So in coaching, I help you crush debt if you have debt. I help you optimize your credit score and get you actual credit card perks that you pay for because they're an investment that gives you emotional return and financial return. And I help you optimize all of your investments. I help you break up with your financial advisor because they're not showing you how to treat your money. You're outsourcing your money anxiety to them, but you're paying them way more than you would to hire me for coaching because you're becoming dependent. It's a codependent relationship that's unhealthy because they probably have you invested in expensive funds, because I see this all the time with financial advisors. They have people in crappy funds that are expensive and are not doing their job. And so when my clients hire me, we look at all of your accounts and I quickly point out, like, this is how much in fees you're paying and this is how much your money is not growing like it should. And then we break up with their financial advisors or robo-advisors like Betterment, which I had to because I didn't know what the F I was doing. And then I knew what I was doing and realized, oh, I can manage this myself way more easily and save money that I can invest instead rather than hiring a financial advisor. So as I help a lot of my clients do of all investment levels, break up with these robo-advisors, all these advisors, and go to self-managed in easy ways without you having to watch the stock market or day trade. I get my clients to all invest on repeat in the same boring low-cost index funds that never go viral because they do their job. And so that's how you retire early, like a Roth freak. I walk you through the high yield savings, how to be a high yield hottie, break up with big banks, crappy credit unions, and checking accounts, and optimize your high yield savings accounts. Get your interest. You should be making 4% interest at minimum or more in the cash that's sitting there anyway, because these banks are profiting off of you. They're not nonprofits. Banks are for profit. They're taking the money that's sitting in your bank account and lending it for way higher rates. So you might as well get more of your money back for it, because it's a lot of these things like you're doing anyway. So you don't have an income problem, you just have an optimization problem. So that's what I help in my 6-month money coaching. So if you're interested in working with me and crushing your money goals, I'm taking money coaching clients. I have 2 spots open in August. You can book a sales call at the link in the show notes or at the link in my bio if you're listening on Instagram. And in the sales call, we talk about your goals and how I can help you every step of the way and hold your hand. And I help talk you through, since I'll be very aware of how much savings versus debt versus credit you have, how to make your money coaching investment back just in the 6 months, which I don't have to do this because I'm changing your life anyway for the rest of your life through your money habits. But I'm such a good coach that I help my clients get in the mindset of like, I'm investing $6,000 and I'm going to make my money back in the first 6 months. That's how good of a coach I am. So I literally walk you through everything because I will know everything, because I'm a Virgo and I'm thorough AF. We will leave no stone unturned when it comes to your finances as well as your mindset. So I'm excited to get to know you and chat with you in the sales call, and see you in my webinar on August 25th. And I will put details in this podcast about the webinar. All right, y'all, this was an amazing episode. Thanks for tuning in on live or on the Unicorn Millionaire Podcast. I love it when y'all share these episodes and tag me on Instagram. Share with your friends and family. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.